Hello, I'm Ilarion and welcome to JavaScript/TypeScript web automation course. Today we're gonna talk about Playwright installation and actually install the Playwright and all the necessary tools. And then we're gonna run the first example test. So today we're gonna install Node.js, npm, Git, VS Code, so everything what's needed to actually execute tests using Playwright. All right, so first I'd like to do a quick follow-up on the previous video. So I haven't shown you one very useful way how to select elements on the page. So remember, we were playing in console, we were selecting some elements using XPath and CSS selectors, right? But I haven't shown you another way how to do this. Remember, we also played with this CrowPath extension, browser extension. Yeah, all right. But there is also one more way how to do this, is just open the elements in Chrome DevTools, and then let's say we want to select this footer wrap. It has the attribute ID and the value footer wrap. And then just anywhere here, just click Control F or Command F. Command plus F, Control plus F. And here you'll see the window for searching by CSS or XPath selectors. Let's try. Okay, so we want to find this ID footer wrap, and we want to make sure that our selector will work. All right, so I'm typing for CSS selectors, it would be this hashtag, then footer wrap. Okay, it selected this element, so our selector works. Now let's try to find this same element using XPath. So for that we have to put 2 slashes and then say that it will be any element, and then the attribute ID will be equal to footer wrap. Okay, this one also worked. So here we can easily test the selectors and then paste them into console and do, if you remember, document, query selector, blah, 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 query selector, and click on the elements, change them, etc. All right, let's try something else. Let's say we want to get to, let's say, this copyright element. So it has class copyright. Again, testing the selector. Class copyright. Okay, I found it. And the same with CSS selectors. Copyright. Yep, found it. All right, and if you want to select some element here, let's say you want it to be kind of with this border, green border, like I have, then you have to install this CrowPath extension. So without it, it won't work. Yeah, I find this really useful. So I selected some element and I see the border around it, and yeah, I just like to work this way. All right, so I've shown you this cool feature, and now let's see what we'll cover in this lecture. So first we'll install Node.js plus npm, and I'll explain you in a bit what is Node.js. Then Git, again I'll explain you what this is. VS Code is just for code editing. Just imagine this is text editor but for code. Then we'll install Playwright and Playwright extension into VS Code. So these two go together. And then we'll run the first example test. All right. Not taking much time here. Again, course content. Today we are doing the Playwright installation. Actually, we are learning how to run tests today too, but we'll dive in that deeply in another video. All right, let's go. First of all, I want to explain you what is Playwright. So, like, in simple words, Playwright is a framework for web testing and automation. what is a framework, what it kind of consists of. So Playwright consists of some tools like recorders, element selectors, debuggers, like tools for running tests. Then Playwright has some libraries for assertions, for finding elements, locators, etc. Then Playwright has some conventions and guidelines, so it kind of forces us to write tests in some specific way. This is, if you heard like that framework makes you kind of build some architecture specific to this framework. So this is about conventions and guidelines. So Playwright kind of forces us to use some patterns in code. So it gives us some examples, and Playwright kind of forces some structure of our tests of our project. Yeah, but more on that later. Just giving you the overview what is Playwright framework, and we'll learn this one by one. So don't feel overwhelmed with this if you don't understand what the Playwright is. All right, so first we have to install the VS Code. If you don't have it installed, just simply head to, okay, boom, Visual Studio, and here select your system. Should be pretty easy to install, so I already have it installed, won't do it again with you. Then Node.js. First of all, let's talk about what is Node.js. Node.js is something that runs JavaScript. So we will run our tests using TypeScript/JavaScript, and the Node.js is something that runs tests outside of the browser. I mean, runs JavaScript outside of the browser. So we mostly know JavaScript for the web development, and this is what we actually did in the console, right? So we went to the console, and here we were writing some window location reload, right? Do we have such? Yeah. So we are reloading the page. So this is JavaScript. We are executing JavaScript in the browser. And Node.js is kind of the, yeah, it says it's JavaScript runtime environment outside of the browser. So we can run this on the server somewhere in the background, right? Outside of the browser. Yeah, so this is what we need the JavaScript for, because Playwright uses Node.js for running tests. Just remember this. Playwright uses Node.js for running your JavaScript, TypeScript tests. That's it. So what we need, just go to nodejs.org and install this LTS recommended for most users version. Install it on your PC, and then go to the terminal and hit, let's say, let me go to the terminal. Boom. Okay, I have this cool feature. Then, yeah, just type node//version, and you will have something like this. If you don't have the version here, then it means that Node.js is not installed, and you might have to Google what's wrong and how to install it on your system. Then also go and hit npm version. So when you install Node.js from this website that I showed before, then you'll have the Node and npm. We'll talk about npm a bit later, maybe in the next video. All right, installed VS Code, Node.js, then Git. Git is version control system, so this helps developers like manage the big projects and work on the same project at the same time. All right, you probably heard of GitHub, right? If you haven't, that's fine. We'll go slowly, and again, I'll explain everything. So if you don't have, first of all, go to the terminal and check whether you already have Git installed. I already have one. On some systems, you will have it installed by default. On some, you won't. Then another suggestion for Windows users. Look, I'm on Mac OS. I will be using some commands in the terminal some yeah, just for running tests, for playing with the files, for creating files, editing, viewing the folders, etc. And this will work perfectly on macOS and on most of the Linux distributives. But if you're on Windows, then I suggest you to go to this website and install Git Bash. Remember, okay, this is only for Windows users. Just hit here download and you'll install the Git Bash. Git Bash is terminal. It looks like this. Not the perfect picture, but it looks like this, so it's pretty much similar to what I have. And you will be able to run the same commands as I do. So for this course, I suggest you to install Git Bash, this terminal. And whenever I type something in the terminal, just know that you have to open the Git Bash on Windows and type the same there. Okay, enough with the installation, just a quick meme. So this is usually how automation looks like on real projects. So spend 10 minutes doing the task manually. Yeah, no, not for us, not the easy way. Spend 10 hours writing code to automate it. This is for us. Yeah, and this is what we are going to do in this course. All right, so let's jump right into Playwright installation. I always suggest you to just go to the official docs. So yeah, we'll do this together with you, so it will be easier and more fun for you to do. Yeah, I hope it's more fun to do this with me than just go to the documentation and type some commands. All right, what do we have here? Installation, Playwright, blah blah blah. Okay, first command we need to run. Remember, I told you we have to install Node.js with npm. All right, so first of all, let's open VS Code. I already opened one. You will see a window like this one. Let's create a new, actually open, and then let's create a new folder. You might have it differently on your system, but let's create a new folder. And let's name this folder Playwright demo examples. You can name it the other way. Okay, Playwright demo examples. Okay, and we have to open this folder. You have to select it and then open. Okay, now we opened an empty folder. Remember that we have to run this command, and in order to run it, just go to the terminal, new terminal here on the top, or you can just hit Control and tilde. You see, there's a shortcut. All right, so I have the terminal opened. On Windows, you might have to choose the Git Bash here to run the commands. Okay, and let me actually, I'll remove this folder. I mean, rename, move Playwright. Okay, I even misspelled Playwright demo. Just call it like this. Okay, and now let's get into this folder. Okay, so I'm running this npm init playwright latest. Let's go. Okay, proceed. Boom, yes, hit enter, then choose here TypeScript, hit enter, then where to put your end-to-end tests, hit enter, add GitHub actions workflow. Let's click y meaning yes, true. Here it's just okay. Playwright browsers done automatically, just hit enter. Okay, it's installing some dependencies. It will take a few seconds. Okay, happy hacking, says Playwright, and thank you for that. Okay, and here's our project. Okay, looks like in terminal I renamed the folder, and yeah, I have to reopen the folder here. Playwright demo. Okay, open in the terminal again. You remember the shortcut, control and tilde, or wherever you have on your system. Okay, and now let's see what we have. Okay, we have some tests installed. This is great. We have the basic project structure installed. This is also great, and we'll talk about what each of these files and folders mean in the next video. Okay, yeah, so don't feel overwhelmed. So we just installed Playwright. Let's see what Playwright tells us. Okay, it installs some files. We'll talk about each one of these later. And then Playwright says just hit this command to run tests. Let's try that. Let me make it a bit bigger and then close this one. Okay, npx playwright test. It says it's running some tests, and what do we see? We just ran 6 tests, which lasted 5 seconds. I think this is great. Okay, and let's see some report, show report, as Playwright suggests. Okay, and we see that there were some example tests here in this folder. Let me show you. Playwright tests, and here's some example spec. Oh, come on, let me close it. Okay, here are some tests that Playwright kind of automatically installed for us. Yeah, I love it. And yeah, you remember, right? First we ran the tests, npx playwright test, then it said 6 passed, and then npx playwright show report. And now we can view the report on localhost something. Okay, I find this great. And let's play with this. Let's make this test fail. Let's say it has here have title. Let's break one of the tests. Okay, let's close the report, Control C, and then npx playwright test again. Running the tests takes a few seconds. Yep, and now one of the tests fails. Actually 3 tests failed. Oh, it's on Chromium, Firefox and WebKit. Okay, it ran tests on different browsers. Great. So here this mark says that the test failed, and let's see what's inside. Timeout 5,000 milliseconds, meaning 5 seconds waiting for locator, for this locator. So it was looking for this element with this locator, but haven't found one. Timeout, 5 seconds waiting for. Okay, so this is how we can run tests and how we can show, like, view the report. Okay, again, Control C to close this one. Now let's copy the test file. We have tests, then example spec, and let's copy it into tests, example spec, example2 spec. Okay, so we just copying the file. Now we have 2 files, and now let's run the tests again. Yep, now it will take a bit more time, but yeah, it was pretty fast. Okay, so it says that the tests failed again. Okay, and now we see the first test and the second test, and both failed on the same step, on the same assertion. And yeah, this is what we expected because we broke this one. Okay, let's fix it here and let's fix it here. why I wanted to copy these two tests, because I wanted to show you that we can actually run one test like this. So if we execute this command, npx playwright test, then it will run all the tests in this tests folder, so which we just did. And if we go with npx playwright test and then we specify the folder like tests and then the exact test file we want to run, then it will run only this file. Okay, I hate the silence on the video, so yeah, that's it. It passed and it ran only one test. And again, running all tests. All right, what else I want to show you? Okay, let me show you. You remember, right, that the npx playwright show report, it says that it runs tests on different browsers, right? WebKit, which stands for kind of Safari engine, then Firefox, then Chromium, which is kind of Chrome but just using the same engine Chromium. Okay, so let's say we want to run tests only in one browser, which is Chromium. Let's go to Playwright config and let's actually find here Chromium. Okay, so here we found one occurrence of Chromium. Like, to see this window, hit Control F or Command F in the editor. Okay, Chromium, and we see that there are a few like project configurations. Yeah, I'm just gonna copy this. I just hit Control and slash is this symbol, or on your system it might be command slash, control slash or command slash. To command this, command meaning ignore, so we are ignoring Firefox and WebKit. Okay, back to the terminal. Press Ctrl C to quit. All right, pressing, exiting this show report, and now let's run the tests. Okay, and obviously like it's much faster. It's much faster because now we ran tests only in Chromium. Let's see. Yep, example spec, yeah, both tests were executed in Chromium. Okay, that's it. Let's get back to the presentation. So what we just did was install the Playwright and all the necessary tools and run the first test. Like, it's example test, but still we see that it's pretty easy to run it. All right, what else do we have here? Playwright show report, running the example test in UI mode. Right, let's do it. npx playwright test. Okay, first I'd like to delete this file, the one I copied, example2 spec.ts. Okay, removing this file, and now ls tests. Okay, in tests I have only one file. Let me close this one. So what do we want to do? This command, right? Copy and pasting it here. Okay, it actually opened the window in my another screen. Okay, what happened? npx playwright test UI. Okay, you see it opened this window, and now let's hit this play button. Let me make it bigger, larger. Oof. Okay, hitting this green button, and here we will see that it actually runs the tests. Come on, why doesn't it show that it runs the test? Okay, let's check. Let's put some, I don't know, let's go to this test and let's put some Timeout 5 seconds. Okay, like this. Let's wait for 5 seconds. Boom, rerun the test. Actually, this should show the browser window. Why it doesn't? Okay, let's try to close it and then reopen again. Test UI. Okay, I see this window again. And it doesn't show like how the tests run. So like it should show here the browser window which it opens and how it executes the tests. So it goes to the Playwright. It goes to the playwright.dev and then does some checks. All right, why it doesn't do that? You see here, even on the documentation, it shows that it should do it. Let's try to figure this out together. Yeah, and this is fine because like every time you use new tool and yeah, you might struggle with something might not work. And now let's figure out what exactly is not working. Let's open the documentation, this UI mode. I don't know, let's maybe check some separate window, about blank, show all actions. Doesn't work this way. Okay, let's try to do this multiple times. Let's try to navigate to this page many times. Okay, and now running the test again. Has title? Whoa, now it worked. Okay, seems like it doesn't work when I click on the example spec, so I have to click on some specific test. Yeah, right. How could I forget this? Okay, yeah. So what do we see here? We see each step, each action that Playwright did. So you remember in the code, let me close this. In the code we have all these go to. So yeah, we're just navigating to this website many times. And here in this UI mode, we see that, yeah, it actually navigates to this website many times. And you see, by the way, do you know why first load takes 700 milliseconds and then the consequent ones take like 100 milliseconds? This is because of caching. So it caches the website for the first time and then it's much faster to load. Okay, and then it does some assertion to have title, locator, blah blah blah. Okay, so it checks the title of the page. Okay, and that's it. So we'll like review this tool in details in the next video, but this is something I just wanted to show you how the tests actually run. And here we have this button just to replay the test. Boom, goes to Playwright 10 times. Yes, sorry Playwright for loading your website. Okay, so we just ran the tests. Let's now install the Playwright extension. So go to extensions here on the left. Go to extensions and type here Playwright. Playwright, and you see I already have it installed, and you might have to just click this button, install, and probably it will ask you to restart the VS Code, so just simply do it. Okay, and now when we have this extension installed, let's check a couple of kind of features what this extension can do. So we just learned how to run tests from the terminal, right? npx playwright test, and then in UI mode like this, and how to run one test, one single test. If you don't remember, this is fine. Just specifying the exact location of the test file. All right, and now we might need to run just one single like test function here, like not the whole file, but just one single test, one function. And for this, VS Code extension adds this button. So let's run it. Okay, actually it just opened this on another tab. So it's running the tests, running. Then what do we have in VS Code? In VS Code it says one passed, and it leaves us the browser window open. So we might want to check something here after the test finished. Okay, let's try again the same test. Just click here on the green one. Okay, it just ran the test in the same window. One passed. Can I do it quick? Oh, you see? It ran the test. This is a pretty quick test. Let's run this one. Boom, also ran the test. All right. So yeah, test one passed. So we see that with this extension, it's much easier to run tests. Just hit this one and that's it. All right, what else do we have? You can do the right click on this button, and now what do we see here? Run test. We just did run it. Then debug test. We'll talk about debugging in the next videos. This is like a big, huge, and really important topic. Then reveal in Text Explorer. What is this one? Oh, we also have the Text Explorer, right? Then we can, yeah, still let's check. Add breakpoint. This is for debugging. Conditional breakpoint. This is also for debugging. And toggle inline chat icon. Inline chat icon. What was that? Toggle inline chat icon. Okay, I don't know what this one is about. So there's some icon. Start inline chat. Oh, this is for probably for ChatGPT, for Copilot. Sorry, this is for Copilot. Yeah, sorry, didn't know that. Yeah, this is a new feature of Copilot, so I can type anything here. Ask Copilot, or type anything. Go to play. Let's try this. Playwright.dev and check the header. And check that the header contains Playwright. Boom, hit enter. Let's see what Copilot does, by the way. Woof. It was rewriting some code. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, so it rewrote my code. It removed this wait for 5 seconds, which is like, we don't need this one. I just put this one for testing. And then to have selector header, text playwright. Okay, not bad. So Copilot just helped me to rewrite this, but yeah, maybe this one doesn't work. Okay, so AI tools not always reliable. Yeah, let me just revert back. Okay, what else do we have in this VS Code extension? Also, we have this toggle, this checkbox show browser. So that means that we can run tests without showing the browser. That's great. So it didn't open any windows, trust me. And now I can hit the show browser again, and yeah, obviously it will open the browser, and yeah, it opens in this another screen. Yeah, so this is what this one does. Then show trace viewer. We will have a separate video on trace viewer, but yeah, let's go with the trace viewer. Let's see what it does. Okay, again, it opened the the page here, and it runs the tests in some kind of wrapper test viewer. Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later. So there is some additional information about the test, like what's going on, the network request console, so we can click through here. So we have this timeline. Yeah, more on that later. Okay, and then about recording, yeah, we'll talk about that and pick locator in the next videos. Okay, I think this is enough for this time. So we just learned how to run tests, and this should be fine. All right, now I have kind of tip of the day for you. Just, yeah, I'll talk for 1 minute about why it's important to know your tools and don't rely on tutorials like mine. So I have a tutorial which I'm recording in 2023, almost 2024, and tutorials usually get outdated. And most of tutorials, they try to kind of show you like, here's what you can do. But tutorials don't teach you how to find information yourself and how to build something yourself, how to go to official docs, how to search for something on official docs, how to go to ChatGPT, to Google to search for something. And kind of my goal, I will be always putting some links to the official documentation, so that you can go to official docs and just go through these topics here on the left, like getting started. This is the beginning, getting started VS Code. So this is for Playwright extension. This is what I showed you a few minutes ago. Like, it shows you how to run tests. It shows you how to show browsers, hide browsers, right? So there are a lot of things you can learn from official documentation. And I suggest you to go this way, like learn the tools and learn to find information on official docs. Here you also have the search, so we can hit here Visual Code Extension, and they have a great search on this website. So VS Code Extension, and it goes to VS Code Extension. Watch your test, live run, big selector, blah blah blah. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna try to convince you to always go to official docs and read something, and yeah, I will always try to convince you to play with the tools yourself, not just watch how I do it, not just watch my failures, my errors, how I fix things, how I figure out why something doesn't work. I want you to go and try it yourself. Like, I will always repeat this in all the videos. Yeah, so this is a normal process of learning, and also this course will get more complicated. In the few videos it will get more and more complicated, and then you'll feel like you've lost it. You just lost it. You're not following, and this is because you haven't tried everything yourself. If you do try everything yourself and play with these tools as I did, just install everything, install Playwright, go run some tests, like go to the documentation, read something, type something in the terminal, go to this VS Code extension. Yeah, just play with it. Have some fun. Just, yeah. All right, enough me talking. Let's finish this beautiful lecture. Go to Explorer. Let's go to the terminal. Okay, and let's say we want to commit all these files, and we want to kind of upload them to GitHub repo. So what do I have to do? Git status, not a Git repository. Okay, if it's not a Git repository, then what do we have to do? Git init, right? So we're initializing Git repository. Initialized empty Git repository. Now again, Git status, it says that these files are not committed. Okay, then I'm doing git add dot, meaning kind of stage all files, prepare them for commit. Like these files will be committed. Then git status again. Okay, these files are green, so that means that they will be committed. And now I want to commit this. Git commit am. Oh, actually, m would be enough this time. Initial commit. Boom. Okay, now I have to go to, let's check git status. Okay, nothing to commit on branch main, working tree clean. Now let's go to GitHub. Do I have GitHub? Okay, I have it here on my blog. GitHub. Okay, repositories. Let's create a new one. Repository name, let's call it Playwright course. Playwright, let's call it advanced Playwright course. Okay, put some description. I'll make it public for you, so you can go to my GitHub and check this. And that's it. Create repository. Now what GitHub suggests us, push existing repository from command line. Okay, so let's first copy this command. Git remote add origin 11. Okay, that's it. Git branch main. Why do we need to do this? Okay. And git push upstream origin main. Okay, we just pushed our code to GitHub, and now let's refresh the page. Okay, I refreshed the page and I see the initial commit. Great, so all my code is uploaded to GitHub on this URL. Okay, here's my example spec that I just changed. And let's quickly go through this again. Let's remove timeout. I'm removing timeout. Just reminding you how to work with Git. Removing timeout, git status, okay, only one file modified. Git add this file. Now git commit and refactor, remove, wait, what was that? Wait. 5 seconds. Remove wait 5 seconds. I committed this, and let me push this git push. Git push pushed. Okay, let's refresh this file. Okay, this one is removed, so I just pushed this to Git repository. Feel free to go here. Oh, sorry. Okay, next, hit the star. Just go to this github.com, Ilarion Halushka. If you don't have a GitHub account, just create one. Hit the star here. Start my project. I will include all the lectures here. So all the code from the lectures will be under this repository. So go hit the star and go here to Ilarion Halushka and hit here followers. I have 34 followers here. Just go follow me. Like I don't know, yeah, make me famous, make me popular on GitHub. Thank you. All right, so this was it for today's video. Today we covered Playwright installation, a little bit how to run tests, and yeah, step by step we will move forward and learn this Playwright automation, easy peasy. All right, so homework after today's video. Go ahead, install VS Code, Node.js plus npm, it will be installed by default. Then Git for Windows users, Git bash. Remember, I gave you the link to the Git bash terminal. Then install Playwright, go to official docs, go through them, install Playwright, then install extension, VS Code extension, as we did, and play with the extension a little bit. Just run the tests, like click here, there, just explore the tool. Yeah, this is what I have here. Run the first test, then create GitHub repo and push the code, as I did in terminal. Remember, git init to initialize repository, then git add dot to add all files to the staging area, then git commit, then then go to GitHub create repository, like new repository, blah blah blah, add description, create new repository, and then run those commands that GitHub suggests, like git add remote and then git push /u origin main. Okay, that's it, and in the next video we'll talk about Playwright Recorder, how to record tests. If you remember, on lecture number 1, on video number 1 of this course, we were playing with Selenium IDE, and what was another one? Yeah, it was in Chrome Recorder. And this time, like I mean on the next video, we will play with Playwright Recorder. And we will also write our first test. So we'll write a few tests using Playwright Recorder. This will be fun. You'll enjoy it, I promise. So yeah, and always repeat everything after me, do the homework, and let's move on step by step. And now, special homework for like big brains, for, I don't know, the best students, like for people who want to become expert in automation. Like, I think it's clear that you have to know some JavaScript. If you already know some basics of other languages, as I said in one of the first videos, this is fine. Like, you might not need to go through all this right away, but eventually you'll have to. Yeah, so if you already know some basics of some programming language, then yeah, this can wait. All this stuff can wait. If you don't, then probably you might have to start learning some JavaScript fundamentals today. Better today than tomorrow. Yeah, so just head to this website, javascript.info. I prepared for you. And here you have these topics. Here you have these topics, and yeah, I removed some of these topics on my screenshot. So check my screenshot. So introduction, I have 2 sections left, and here you have 4. So you can skip 2 sections from here. You won't need it for this course, at least. Here, second section, JavaScript fundamentals, 14 items, and here on the website they have 18. So yeah, I just reduced the scope. I just deleted some things which I think might be not relevant for this course or just for automation, or they are kind of too complex and you might want to learn them afterwards. So yeah, again, here I removed something, here I removed something. So you might want to start learning JavaScript today, so that it will be much easier for you to understand all the next videos. Alright, so that's it for today. Thank you very much. Was always happy to teach you something new, and see you in the next one.